morning, YouTube. How we doing this week? This is Mike with Ace Cafe Bikes, and today a bit of history, as well as our 3 things would happen this week. It's just a short little drive from my town to get over to our little history lesson, which I have to admit I've known about this, and I'm still not quite 100% up to speed on it. Here we go. But it is a pretty fascinating piece of history, especially for this small communities in Minnesota. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. Like I said, it's just a short little drive. Might not even be 5 miles away. So how's everyone doing this week? We definitely had the weather change here. It's fall, sunny, bright, crisp morning. I love it. The leaves are starting to change. It's a perfect part of the year to go for a ride. Perfect. All suited up today. Well, except for gloves. I've got the jacket on and a sweatshirt, which is pretty rare. Alright, let's just get right into it, see where it takes us, and we'll see if what time it is when we get to where we're heading, to our small town in Minnesota called Wasioja. So yeah, I had a pretty interesting week this week. I had a call from a buddy who recently stumbled across my channel. Didn't realize I did it, and that's one thing to touch on, just real brief. You know, I know we just had our year-end review, and we talked a lot about how the growth and how we're excited about the growth, and we really like where we are, what position we're in right now with the channel. But one thing I really haven't done is plagued all my family and friends with this channel. If they, yeah, family, maybe, you know, I really got some support, not only from my family in my house, but family from, you know, my brothers and sisters, moms and dads, and aunts and uncles, you know, cousins. Everybody's kind of on board. They kind of like it. But we haven't really did like a Facebook blast, you know, trying to persuade every person that I know or walk into to head over to our channel. So that's one reason why I'm a bit excited about where we are, because the majority of the subscribers we have probably are people I have no idea who they are, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so a buddy of mine, he says, hey, I saw the year-end review, that looked pretty awesome. I got a bike in mind for you. Maybe you should come and take a look at it. So I am going to keep that under the hat for a minute, because I don't know if I'm going to go for it, but we are definitely going to go take a look at it and see what it's all about. It's old. I'll leave it at that. It's old. Way older than what I'm working on now, and that's strictly 80s, it seems. Oh, and an update. This wasn't part of the top 3, but the Yamaha V-Star has been sold, so that little project worked out really well. And I have a couple other episodes I have on that. I have where I worked on the carburetor to get it to run, and then I have just a quick little ride around, because I wasn't sure how long I was going to be able to keep it. And the night I did that ride around was purposely taken because I had a prospect coming the next day. So those videos will be coming out soon. But yeah, I think that worked out really good. Made a little money on it, not a lot. I was actually getting a bit worried that I bought that bike a little too late and I'd have to be storing it all winter, but he felt the same as I did. We still got a month of riding left, at least a month, and he's excited to get into it. He graduated from a Honda Matic, which, you know, good for him for finding one of them. And 2, yeah, now he's got to learn how to do shifting, so I'm sure he'll do fine with that. He did take it for a ride and it worked out well. Okay, number 2. We had a couple of birthdays. Our middle girl turned 17 and our oldest girl turned 20. Oh my gosh. That makes a guy feel old. Yeah. Awesome. But with that, the girls are great. They're turning into quite nice young women. We had a couple of parties. We went to a place that's going to be, I am planning on doing a ride around Rochester, which is the biggest town close to us, and do kind of little highlights of things there. We went to this new place that has been recently constructed, or renovated, I should say, and it was just absolutely fabulous. It's called The Workshop. In Rochester, they used to have a Seneca Foods. They process vegetables, canning, processing, and they those turned into an old relic. But they knocked that factory, we'll say, down, but they kept this building that was adjacent to it, and they turned it into a really quite interesting restaurant slash bar slash little hopping little place. It was fun. And the cool thing is it was open for a couple of months, and which we hadn't heard about it yet, but that's not because we're not really the happening type of people. But anyway, I was talking to one of the bartenders, and he said, yeah, it keeps getting busier and busier. So that's really good news to hear, because there's so many restaurants, good restaurants in Rochester, that keep closing. I think I messed this up. I don't know. Yep, one more road. Here we go. All right, well, we'll get to number 3 here in a minute. So we are here. I told you it wasn't very far away. There it is. So just down the road, not sure if you can quite see it yet. This is an old seminary. They, way back, I should have done a little more research on this, but this was a college, a seminary college. Yeah, way up here in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota. And I think this was more populated in the 1800s than it is now. But the little bit that I do know about this is it burned down, and at some point, as you can see, it's as we get closer. But they've kept it, and in its old wrecked over way. Here, we'll turn the bike off here for a minute. Now we'll get closer. But yeah, 300 students were here just before the Civil War, and that's going to be another thing that we go and look at. Is there was this old Civil War enrollment office right here in this town as well. But yeah, just out here in the middle of nowhere. Isn't this awesome? Southeast Minnesota. Oh, let's go look at this. Just reading that real brief. You can pause on that if you like. But 1862, Wasioja had dozens of stores, a hotel, a flour mill, surrounded by farms and quarries. Not anymore. It's something. History's always kind of cool, I think, to go back and look at things. We were just at the cafe here in town, and they got some old pictures of downtown Manorville where the roads are still gravel. And there's a huge wall that the courthouse has on the highway. It was constructed in 1932. So that picture was prior to that. It's just really kind of neat, I think. You know, some people think history's boring. It's just kind of, you know, kind of like what we've talked about doing for this channel. You know, it's a time capsule. It's a moment in time to look back and just wonder what would it have been like to have been around during this time. Well, let's head over to the Civil War Registration Office. which, as you expect, is probably tiny, and it is. That quarry that was mentioned on that historical billboard placard is also in this town, and a lot of the buildings in Manorville, which obviously aren't very far away, were constructed with that too. And it's a sought after stone, I guess, in the way that they processed it in the kilns. It just like petrifies it. I'm not, that's not the right word, but it is very indestructible, not subject to wear like limestone would be, just out in the elements where wind and rain and frost and heat would just make it starting to crumble. I guess through this process it really quite cures that. But yeah, this is good old Wasioja. Like I said, there's not a lot here now. But right here is the registration office for the Civil War. Recruiting office, or recruiting station, I guess they're calling it. But a very small office indeed. Focus on that. Just look how pristine that building still is. I mean, obviously the roof and wood are probably been under repair, but that stonework, 100% still original. 170 years, no? Yeah, 160 years. It's pretty impressive. Well, we'll head out to town the opposite way we came, and we'll talk about number 3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little pit stop. Like I said, it wasn't very far from my... Look at that, it's only 7 miles from my house. So not very far away. Living in land of history right here. Okay, so number 3. It's not very exciting, and we kind of already touched on it a bit, but with the sale of the V-Star, I think I'm going to finally get that newer GoPro. And like I've said before, I don't necessarily discount the quality of the video. It's the sound that I'm annoyed with, and maybe I could continue to search for different microphones, but there's so many people that use this mic that I have. There it is again, looking for 6 gears. So many people use this Purple Panda mic that don't have any complaints, and so I think the way that the new GoPros are using with that external audio modulator thing, that way that it processes the sound must be needed. I was going back looking through some of the old footage that we have, and the mic that I have now that I've been using for a while, it doesn't always record in stereo. Sometimes it's back and forth, and like we've talked about, it has its moments where it says I don't want to do anything. So I really contribute that to the GoPro unit itself, not the microphone. So anyway, there we are, top 3 things of this week. We got the girls back, we sold the V-Star, and now with the proceeds, we'll be able to improve the quality of the show. Maybe. I don't know, maybe the host of the show is the issue, not so much the equipment. I don't know, guys. Well, as I drive drive off here into the sunset. You guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, be safe. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that like, hit that comment. I always like seeing what you guys have to say. And we'll see you later. We go. Did I really say sunset? God, what an idiot. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning. You clown.